Okay, historic black devotion here. So, if you didn't see us play this before, this deck was really sweet last time we played it. So, it is at its core a Vito Thorn of the Dusk Rose kind of combo deck in two different ways. The first is that a simple combo, Vito Thorn of the Dusk Rose doubles up the damage our Gray Merchant deals. So, if you curve Vito, Phyrexian Obliterator, Gray Merchant, that's 6/7 devotion to black. You get to dome them for 7. If you have a Gifted Aetherborn beforehand, you get to dome them for 18. So really powerful that way. A second combo that we have here is Revival Revenge. So if you have a sufficient amount of life and you cast Revenge, it doubles your life total, and then your opponent loses half their life rounded up. Doubling your life total counts as gaining life. So this halves your opponent's life total, and then Vito causes your opponent to lose life equal to what you've gained on top of them losing half their life. So frequently, if you cast Revenge with Vito in play, your opponent just dies outright. It's a 2-card combo. The Revival half of Revenge on the front half is also nice because it can pick up, Ayara, Vito, Gifted Aetherborn, or Knight of the Ebon Legion back out of the discard pile. So you'll note we've only got 10 black sources here, or 10 white sources here, because we want a lot of black mana, but Revenge is something we cast pretty frequently in the late game. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it feels. It felt very reasonable last time. Let's see if it feels good again today. Got so many decks in here now, chat. Just loading up decks for deck voting today. Suna, thank you for the 25 months. Welcome back. The thought process behind shifting the Obliterator main. Well, we had main deck Obliterators last time too. Obliterator is very good in the creature matchups. So I've got a 2-2 split of Gonti and Obliterator in the main deck because Gonti is better in the control matchups and Obliterator tends to be better in the creature matchups. Yeah, if you hit level 3, you definitely played through enough of the fleet command. Appreciate the folks that did that. We're halfway to the 90 goal already. I have a 90 goal and a 120 goal. If we hit the 90 goal, I'm gonna add 1 weekend of doing tournament on stream all weekend again. And if we hit the 120 goal, I'm gonna add 2 weekends. Godspeed, Aquil. Yeah, Gonti, if you've never seen, I say this every time, but it's definitely true. If you haven't played with Gonti before, however good you think this card is, it's much better. The 2/3 Death Touch means it's basically a removal spell a lot of the time when you trade with it on board, and it's a removal spell that cantrips effectively. And not even just cantrip, but impulses into the opponent's deck, which is really strong. Vito is a great draw here, so if we get to, if we just want to hit lands for the next 2 turns here, if we get to curve 4, 4, 5, we're going to be in a great spot. Honestly, even if we just hit 4 on time, it's going to go Obliterator and Gonti will be great. I'm gonna block here, because if they want to play Woe Strider and trade their Dreadhorde Butcher for my Vito, I think that's a good exchange for me. Morning, Quintivis. Thank you for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think this trade is good for us. Come on, land. Untapped land. We have two Concealed Courtyards in our deck. Feels magic, man. Kept a 3-lander in my 26-land deck. Missed my 4th land on 4. Not only is it peak magic, but my deck only has 8 cards that cost 4 or more mana, and we drew most of them. So not only did we miss our 4th land after keeping a 3-lander, but we've also managed to draw half of our cards that we can't cast on 3 lands. At least it's a spell we can cast. Oh, and they drew 4th untapped land and 2nd collected company. Average variance game. What a shitty joke. But Mayhem Devil they drew too. Are we done here? I feel like we're done here, right? Because they can just sack whatever Phyrexian Obliterator blocks. Nah, our deck is great. Magic is just magic. Sometimes. This deck is super reasonable. We're playing 26 lands, right? Yeah, we're on 22 plus 4 Awakening. Oh, this actually isn't good, right? That's green and white. Heartless Act is what I wanted. Click the wrong one. Honestly, with their ability to sacrifice things, Phyrexian Obliterator is probably not very good. They're going to have a hard time. They'll have an easy time not letting it block. Gonti sounds good to draw cards out of their deck. No, the opposite is usual. The fact that they have so many ways to sacrifice things means we don't want Obliterator. Ectomaniac, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it seems fine. Not amazing, but fine. Needs to draw a 2nd land. I mean, like, the fact that my opponent, like, hit their 4th land and a 2nd collected company, like, wouldn't have been a big deal if we had gotten to play Magic that game. We needed, like, either of those two things to not happen, right? I either needed my opponent to not redraw their best card immediately, or I needed to hit a 4th land in a reasonable amount of time so we could play a game. Like, one of those two things needed to happen for us, and unfortunately neither did. Hey, Negative, thanks for the 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Unfortunately, they're going to get to negate the lifelink on my Gifted Aetherborn here, but definitely want to attack and try and push some damage here. A Cronin War isn't super common in the historic variations of Sacrifice Great Bone Daddy. Like, sometimes they have a copy. Like, in general, it tends to not be super popular because, what's the word I'm searching for? They're collected company decks. They can only play so many cards that don't, they can only play so many cards that, that don't get hit by that. So one of the things that always comes up, because I think a lot of people forget it, is I really hope the historic anthologies are all cards moving forward that explicitly aren't Pioneer legal. I think putting cards that are Pioneer legal in historic anthologies is kind of a waste, because we're gonna get those cards eventually anyways. So I'd much rather see cards that are new to the format that we weren't going to get via Pioneer Master Set at some point regardless. I could be right to pick Gutterbones back up here. Isn't Reality Smasher Pioneer legal? No, it definitely is. Yeah, I totally played Thought Not Seer. I played Oko Thought Not Seer in like my first Pioneer tournament. Yeah, those are well, I mean, so historic is never going to be the people saying they don't want historic to be Pioneer 2.0. Like you're very silly too. Like historic is never going to be Pioneer 2.0. Like that's just not how formats work. Even if I snap my fingers right now and everything in Pioneer was suddenly legal on Magic Arena, Pioneer still or historic still wouldn't be Pioneer 2.0. Yeah, things like Muxus. Not only are there jumpstart cards that make it an important difference, but past jumpstart, there's also important differences like Agent of Treachery is legal in Pioneer and it's not legal in historic. Winota's legal in Pioneer. Like those differentials matter a lot too. Yeah, and like to people, it's like I do have to repeat that a lot, but like I'm fighting against the tide, right? Like if you go and listen to the average brain dead reductionist commentary that you get on formats like Pioneer and Historic and other places, like it's very common that you hear people repeating things that just don't make sense if you actually think about it or understand how formats work. Yeah, things like Phyrexian Tower. If you actually think about it, yeah, I know. I think we're just attacking, right? Thanks to the folks that checked out the Star Trek sponsor, played through the tutorial and that. We're going to end the stream playing a bit of that on stream today. If you've hit level 3, you finished the tutorial, Lucas. It finishes somewhere between level 2 and 3. I don't think I want to draw with this at the moment. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass. I'm really surprised they haven't jump blocked with this goat yet. They keep taking hits. I want to draw with Gutterbones here. This could be wrong, because it could be a reasonable attacker next turn. Are they dead to Vito's activation? They're not, right? I would say I would hope they're smart enough to not put Faithless Looting into Historic, but like they put Muxus into the format, and they put Phyrexian Tower into the format, so I feel like all bets could be off. Ayara plus Gutterbones is such a good engine. Looping cards around. We could dodge a Mayhem Devil, we could dodge a Ball. At least Claim the Firstborn's kind of bad for us too. So, Atheist Prodigy, you did what people often do that I dislike, which is I asked you what does a card do, and you told me the text on the card. I asked you what problem does a card solve, and you told me the text on the card. So like I can read the card. I know the text box on Cling to Dust. What my command asked you was, what problem does my deck have that's solved by playing that card? Why is that card a worthwhile addition to my deck? Where do you envision my deck having issues specifically that you're fixing with Cling to Dust? And then past that, if you're solving a problem, what are you cutting for Cling to Dust, and what potential problems are you creating with that cut? That, in my opinion, is the correct way to approach deck building and tuning. Magic's a game where there's thousands of cards, and there's lots of cards that you could play everywhere that do lots of things, but you need to find a way to narrow it down. And the way you narrow it down, in my opinion, is ask yourself those key questions. Okay, what issue am I having, and how do I fix that issue with this change? Sand needs some lands. Maybe it's supposed to be a mulligan. If you ever come in late, you can always see the deck we are playing by using the widget on the screen if you're on desktop, or by typing !deck in chat and looking at my Cardboard Live page. Poker face, poker face. Oh, I missed a point of damage here, right? I should have started by attacking. Right, if I play my land and attack, they don't block because I can activate. Well, at least they don't have a cat, I guess. Okay, if we draw an untapped land next turn, we kill them, right? EM Jolly, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Hey, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. Are you gonna sacrifice something here to kill Knight? Forget Freeman. Thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Sick. That's a great draw. So I get to go Vito into Gifted Aetherborn here. And then we're set up to combo kill again next turn. Gary! Get the camera, Gary! Shot me. They tapped off of red here, so they can't cast Claim the Firstborn if they draw it. Why not swing for 2? Because I want to activate Ayara if they go to steal any of my things again. And attacking for 2 doesn't matter. Isu1, thanks for the follow. Good morning. This does 16. Actually, it does 18, right? Because we get the Ayara trigger too. Sick. Casual 5 mana fireball you for 18. Not bad. .jpg. Bing bonk, bing bonk. Easy mulligan here. I subbed because I have a question for you. I appreciate your approach to deck building and how you approach it with your chat. Would an acceptable way to phrase needing Cling to Dust in your desk, for example? I'm not very good at deck building, but I've seen other decks run Cling to Dust, and would it work here? So, good teachers don't lecture and just say, this is why you should be doing what you're doing. Good teachers ask you to explain your thought process, and by asking people to come up with a lot of the times I have people say, well, Jeff, it's not fair for you to expect new players to explain themselves, but actually completely disagree with that. New players formulating thoughts about why they think something is good is how you turn a new player into a good player. I'm not expecting someone to be right when they explain something to me. I'm not worried about people being right or wrong. What I'm worried about is people putting in effort to challenge themselves to think a little bit. So if I just tell you, like, when someone's like, deck's good because I said it's good, or card's good because I said it's good, like, that doesn't help you understand why. And if you tell me, Jeff, I think we should play Cling to Dust for reasons X, Y, Z, and I say, well, I could see that, but I disagree with it for these reasons. When you give me a reason why you think we should play a card, it gives me a talking point to discuss it with you and understand why you're making that recommendation. So my goal isn't to expect you to be right. My goal is to expect you to think through and put a little bit of work into it, because you thinking about it will help you understand why you're recommending it more. Also something that happens fairly frequently is if you try and think about why you want to play a card, if you're trying to come up with a reason in your head for why you want to play a card, you'll talk yourself out of it because you'll think about it and realize that it's not good. And that's okay too. I would rather someone recommend a card with logic and reasoning behind why they're recommending it and have me disagree with it, rather than someone recommend a card that I think is good and not put any effort into it that I dislike. I would rather someone be wrong but try, rather than be correct and not put forth any effort. For people that are new to the channel, by the way, if you're not familiar with my background, before I was a full-time meme here on Twitch, I have a master's degree in mathematics where I had a secondary in education. I was a certified teacher in the state of Illinois for a little bit before I let that lapse, deciding that that wasn't for me. I've spent time teaching college classes. So it's not about me understanding Game Jolly. It's again about having a discussion. And like, I'm not always right. That's why we can have a talking point. But you just saying, Jeff, play this card because it's good doesn't give me a compelling reason to actually try something. And you're saying, well, you should just try it because it might be good. There's tens of thousands of cards in this game. You can't just say you need to try everything because it might be good, because guess what? You don't have time for that. Like, there literally just isn't time to test everything. You have to have some type of logical, consistent basis through which you eliminate which things are worth testing and which ones aren't. Meek Maestro, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, I gotta imagine they're greens for collecting company. Snakeskin Veil. That's a sweet one too. Hexproof and a counter. Love it. Really wish this could take lands, huh? Skyclave Apparition is lovely. Yes, I have turned the on-screen chat overlay off for today for the sponsored Star Trek segment. Rather than adding a second widget to the screen, I wanted there to just not be infinite stuff cluttering up the overlay. Oh, they have Snakeskin Veil still? Huh? If we draw an untapped land, these gray merchants might be able to drag us across the finish line. I forgot they have the hexproof card. I don't think any of their choices really mattered there. I guess I could have taken a random flying blocker. Like maybe Lyra would have been fine. They all just end up chump blocking though, right? All right, gotta draw a land here to survive, huh? Does it let us survive? We might actually be short here still, right? So we're gonna gain 7. Unfortunately, I die if I play this. So Gary gains a 7, which puts us to... Wait, that's lethal, right? Is that? We did the... I wasn't counting. It's fine. It's fine. Chat, don't worry about it. It's cool. No big deal. No big. Obliterator sounds great against their damage-based removal. Lovely. Love it. Gonti seems slow and clunky. Noxious Grasp seems great. They're probably pressuring our life total enough that this isn't very good. What's the possibility of Justice Strike here? Non-zero. I don't know. It's not really a card we can play around, though. Duress and discard spells to take away their protection seems valuable, potentially. It could also just be right to max out on removal. Gifted Aetherborn, it seems like they have... I guess they probably have some... I guess they're all... Were they all angels? They were mostly angels. Maybe we cut the Aetherborns, expecting them to not have ground pounders. This is an all Doomblades on deck matchup. So even if they do have things that involve counters, we definitely want the Heartless Act still, because they're not always going to have them. And sometimes you can respond to their things with counters with the Heartless Acts. So I do think I want the Murderous Riders, but I also think I just want all of my removal spells. Actually, they're probably not a company deck. They had Lyra. I wonder if I'm supposed to bring in Despark. See, it's not amazing, but I think it's keepable. Discard spell, removal spell, plenty of lands to draw spells that we find. Wow, they are playing Collected Company on top of all their other stuff. Ah, yes, the classic Stomping Grounds Bishop of the Wings matchup. Play your instant speed spells at sorcery speed, chat. Don't get got. Yeah, honestly, it might be right to leave them Collected Company, because there's no way their deck has a lot of company hits in it. Sorcery speed, chat. Sorcery, playing your instants at sorcery speed is busted. Okay, what I'm about to do is a little bit aggressive, but bear with me. Well, they had two pieces of protection in their hand. To the person that was asking why I didn't take their spell, they had fight as one in addition to the hexproof. So they had two ways to force me into a bad spot. It does rage quit. So if they want to block Knight of the Ebon Legion here, they're going to take 4 from the Murderous Rider, and I'll pump the Knight. And if they want to eat this, they'll take 8 altogether. Yeah, so like I get to pump this, they take 6, I gain 2, they take 2 more from Vito. They go down to 4 here. They could have Reckless Rage. They're drawing 2 cards per thing they play, chat. Okay, if they also have Reckless Rage, they're probably gonna win this. I'm aware they have Reckless Rage in their deck. I'm saying they could have Reckless Rage in their hand. Smells like dead to me. Thanks for the 21 months, Tiago. Welcome back. I appreciate the support. Bing bong, bing bong. I'm pretty sure this deck is real that we're playing, by the way. It's got like good combo kills and it gets to play Thoughtseize and it has ways to grind cards out as it goes along. If you're a lover of Grey Merchant, I'm pretty sure this deck is reasonable. This is our second time playing it on stream. And if you haven't seen this deck before, that means you're either new to the channel or you're not new and you haven't been keeping up on my YouTube. We usually stream 2 to 3 different Magic decks here every single day of the week for an hour and a half to 2 hours each. So a lot of great historic and standard decks and a little bit of Pioneer up on my YouTube constantly. Yes, the sub animations are Star Trek themed as part of the promo with the Fleet Command game today. I love Bezos Bucks. Thank you for shipping some of them my way, Gunthor. I appreciate the 17 months. And a good deep dish in that town. I don't know about Champagne proper, but we have a Giordano's here in Bloomington, which is 45 minutes from Champagne. A little bit of a drive. The central Illinois area in general is quite wonderful. I enjoy living here a lot. Unfortunate that we've drawn both our Obliterators and none of our what's it called here in this matchup, our Gontis. So we get to deal a little bit of, honestly, it might be wrong to play Vito here. Maybe I'm just supposed to play Knight, because it looks like they're setting up for Wrath of God. Squirrel Squad, thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, that's a great card to know about. Oops, did I do that? Are they dead? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite, but close. Rug, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. Nice settle the wreckage. Nice settle the wreckage, opponent. Do I want Despark in this matchup? I definitely want the Murderous Riders and the Duresses. Would I rather have Despark or Revenge Revival? I'd probably rather have the combo / way to recover my threats. Revival picking Ayara back up here is quite good. Yeah, it'll be back to normal tomorrow, Lambton. The Star Trek widget is just on screen for today. But again, I just didn't want to clutter the overlay with a bunch of stuff. So apologies to the people that usually do that, but this hand is so good with 6 spells. Shame these aren't lands. I would love these 4 spells plus some lands. Look at that one. Yeah, this is fine. We'll bottom a swamp here. And then if we draw too many lands, this can be a spell down the line. I could be right to shock a lane to play around Censor here. I'm just gonna take their cantrip here. The rest of their hand doesn't do much. About less than 5 minutes, Moldy. Oh, right. I saw that in their hand, too. I think that's fine. I think that's probably still fine. Actually imported this deck into my deck editor for deck voting later. Looks sweet. I didn't play this pre-combat because I'm expecting them to commit it. I should have played it pre-combat. It was correct too, in case they didn't, but this is a pretty scripted. Yeah, I have a few days to hit the goal too, so if you're someone who's working a job and you're not able to do it right now and you could do it later this evening, that would still help me out. You're just supposed to Gonti there. The Duress is kind of appealing, though. Nice, Gear Hulk. I mean, they can Gear Hulk commit something, right? Technically. You see this, chat? This is bait. They didn't take the bait, chat. That's fine. They'll flash in the Gear Hulk now. Oh, I probably should have played a land out in case they want to make us draw 7 cards. I imagine they want to tuck something into my deck here, though. Wow, they're really just doing that again. Okay. So now I get to kill you? Trigger. Thanks for the cards. Oh no, chat! We made it back to the numbers, chat. Okay, listen. I need you all to do me a solid. When I put decks up for deck voting here in like half an hour to 45 minutes, I need to make sure you all vote for the worst deck possible that I put up for voting. Because we've accidentally made it back into the numbers, and I really feel more comfortable in the percentages. So if you want to do me a solid, make sure you cast your vote later for whatever is the worst possible deck I put up for voting. As if you needed to ask. So, after Bug Snacks, Coach, the only other game in the queue that I have that someone donated for is Ratchet and Clank. So So it would probably be about a month to a month and a half before I finish Bugsnatch and Ratchet and Clank. There's other games listed in the queue too that I've added, but those are just there in case I run out of viewer submissions. Also keep in mind though, I'm pretty selective about what variety games I'm taking these days. Mostly just taking story-driven variety stuff. Those are the non-card games I enjoy the most. We gotta go to the vitamin store and get a meme supplement. I mean, to be fair, it's not just the Bloodborns and the Demon Souls of the world. There's lots of different types of games out there. And after sampling a number of them, the last 4 or 5 months, I've landed on story-driven stuff being my preferred. All right, so do we play into a removal spell or a counter spell here? I think it's counter spell. I think I attack for 2 and then go land Gonti. I could pump the knight, but that's really bad against removal. Getting my hand empty has value here, because if I get my hand empty, this Castle Locthwain can start drawing us cards. I actually played a bunch of Skyrim on stream way back. You can find it up on... You can find the segment up on my my YouTube channel from a few years ago. I'm not a huge fan of shooter story-driven games, unless the shooter part is pretty casual. I prefer to play non-card games with a controller. And first person shooter style games with the controller tend to be a little awkward. Yeah, there's a lot of good games out there. I'm gonna play all of them eventually. Persona would take like a year. I would like the record to reflect that I did a Witcher 3 playthrough in like 4 months. That was less than that. It was like 2 months. Red Dead 2 is what I've heard good things about. It's not one I've played though. You're technically not allowed under the EULA of Persona 5 to stream past a certain point. Really? That's wild. Man, I don't know how we beat these Shark Typhoons. It probably involves them not having counterspells, though, so I think we take that. Yeah, I wasn't into Outer Wilds. Did not care for it. For people that are asking games that I've played, I kid you not, literally every game that I've played on stream can be found up on my YouTube channel. So rather than me answering lots of yes/no questions, feel free to click there and scroll through. There's a thing that has all of my playlists on it of different stuff that I've played.
hone your prowess.
Yes, we're going to make sure to not castle on Archer moving forward. That's fine. I think I wanna just play out some cards here too. We can't really afford to take a ton of damage from Castle again.
Keep an open mind. This was overwhelming.
Did they draw the counterspell? They did. It's unfortunate. Egdoms is so good. Like if they hadn't drawn the counterspell there, like the game would end on the spot basically, right? So this is two because we saw one of those earlier. Yeah, with the commit, I think we're dead. I can't draw Thoughtseize to clear the way for this. Board mostly like we boarded for the last one. I'm gonna leave Gifted Aetherborns in instead of Murderous Rider though, because they don't look like they really have Planeswalkers in blue-black. They have Narsets, but those only tick down. I really wish it would play the board music while we sit here and wait at the screen. Just eerily silent. While we wait for our opponent to figure out their board plan. Hand needs some lands, but if we draw 3 lands in a row, our hand's very good. I guess we could have one spell in the middle there. Like we get to go this into Gutterbones, into tapped land Knight, into this, into this, into this, just straight on up the curve. The ding at the end of silence jump scares for me sometimes. Yeah, definitely can see that. Thoughtseize would be a good draw on turn 2, because then we could trigger Knight of the Ebon Legion. We get to bolt ourselves, and then Thoughtseize to lose 2 as well. Okay, there's the first land. Sounds great. Howdy, Settletion. Yeah, I think this deck's been a lot of fun. Feels powerful and is doing sweet things. If they don't kill either of these, we might just start like looping Gutterbones for value with Ayara, especially if they just pass with counter magic up here. Yeah, we were talking about this in the subscriber Discord last night, actually. Historic has shaped up to be a very modern-esque format, where, like, while there's definitely some decks like Red-Black Sacrifice, like the other Claim the Firstborn decks, like Red-Black Pyromancer, that are much better than a lot of the other things people play, there's enough cards in this format that a lot of people aren't tryharding. They're just playing sweet decks that they enjoy playing. And there's a lot of good games to be had among the B and D list decks in the format. You know, like Blue-Black Control versus Black Devotion. Like neither of the decks that are being played in this match right now are going to be, you know, anything to write home about long term, but they generate sweet games with each other, for sure. There's enough cards in this format that you can find something that really speaks to you regardless of what type of Magic you enjoy playing. Vito's the card I care about the least, so counterspell away. And then them also not caring about this, just letting our spell resolve, also great for us. Yeah, big agree, Lucas. Like, playing Historic, especially like in the, I haven't spent a ton of time playing at the very tippy top, but like playing Historic in the percentages like we've been has been a big, like, casual Magic vibes in a good way. Alright, I think we just do this and get my Ayara back. You ever play the Revenge Side card? Yeah, quite frequently, because it combo kills with Vito. You can't really play Faceless Haven anyways, Charizard. Faceless Haven doesn't work with Eggdoms, and it doesn't work with Castle, and it doesn't cast our Ayaras, and it doesn't cast our Phyrexian Obliterators. So I'm not giving up Faceless Haven to play the White Splash. I just wouldn't play that card anyways. Yeah, like there's been a mono black build going around that people are playing Faceless Haven with Phyrexian Obliterator, and it's just like the epitome of greed. The deck's playing Phyrexian Obliterator with like, I think it's like 18 or 17 black sources or something like that. It's super greedy. Yeah, no blocks. Land. Rats. They have to block Knight here, right? Thanks to the folks checking out the Star Trek sponsor. Appreciate you. So they get the Scarab God back to their hand tier, but it takes them a turn. They have to take mana to recast it, right? It's gonna take some time out of them, and if that happens, maybe we can sneak in some damage with these. They top something here, so I assume they hit a removal spell. So this is a counter spell. I have to decide, how do I want to sequence around that? I'd probably just lean on Ayara, right? I don't think Vito gets a counter. Maybe Vito gets a counter. This might get a counter. Yeah, sweet. All right. Great. They could bring Vito back and scry into an untapped land here. So if they scry into an untapped land, Vito can activate here and force me to block. And they'll go to 8. Deal. Alright, so they're dead. We get a game 3. Good morning, Real. Alright, so the Scarab God. I want these copies of Despark. Everything else stays the same. Maybe I want less copies of Vito and a couple of Murderous Riders. Let's just do this. One thing I'm going to be curious on, I'm going to send out. We're almost to March 2021, which is scary, but it does mean my next subscriber survey is going to come out. And the next sub survey, I'm going to ask if people prefer standard or historic for content. And historic's been very reasonable too. So the ratio of right now, I've been kind of splitting even standard and historic, but how much standard versus how much historic I stream, the ratio will be dictated a little bit by what subs put on that survey. If you're new to the channel, my sub survey is something I usually send out once a month or so to get a feel for the people that pay my bills, what content they want to see. I mean, it's for the people saying that you just prefer the things that I enjoy. Like, for the record, I'm past the point in my streaming career where I'm playing things that I don't enjoy. So, like, just assume if it's an option on the survey for you to check that you like it, that it's something that it's all the same to me. Yeah, and if people, if you haven't filled out a survey before, there's always a I like everything option on there. We actually just can't beat this card, right? It's like not in a million years. I almost did Murderous Rider instead of Despark too. Almost did Murderous Rider instead of Despark too. Yeah, clear, bro. I mean, it's obviously that's why I send out the questionnaire once a month. I understand better than most that card game formats ebb and flow as things change. Yeah, we just can't beat this Thief of Sanity here. They're gonna kill our Ayara with a Fatal Push, and we're just done here. If Scotty left, you're definitely done. No, yeah, I usually send them out monthly, Clear Evil. Start of every month or so. Last one was the start of February. Sand would like a 2-drop, but even if we miss on 2, it's still pretty good. This 3, 4, 5 curve is excellent. Alright, a couple of lands here sounds great. We did manage to get back into the percentages, that's true. Actually right on time. You love to see it. This card's absurd against Skrull. Isn't even fair. You can leave feedback like that in the free answer section, Blue. I don't get that nitty gritty. My sub surveys are like 2 to 5 multiple choice questions and then a free answer section. Him. Honestly, I think we just play this, right? I don't even think I take the time to Thoughtseize here. Historic Gruul run a Cronin War. Not usually main deck. Sometimes love it post board. There has not been a state of the game for February, so it's actually what I've been waiting for. So I'm waiting for the state of the game update for February, so that way I can schedule our next Oglandia tournament. I just take their Frostbite here, actually. Yeah, the opens are definitely coming back. I've already talked to Cool Stuff Inc. about getting support for them again, and they're interested in supporting them. I want the next one to be historic, and I want to schedule it for. I don't want to like put a historic open on the schedule and then find out the historic anthology is coming out like the weekend after. Because that's stupid. I hate when they're like there's a format like right before changes happen. Alright, so they're dead, right? Like Vito activates and they die. This deck's got a very good Gruul matchup. He says as he boards in more Phyrexian Obliterators. Joe Adele, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. There is a Hoaglandia Alliance, but I think I marked it private by default. I'll flag it to open when we close the stream on it. Yeah, you know, Despark's actually probably fine to board in here. It tags a Cronin War and it tags Cleave. I'm boarding out the combo aspect with this. Maybe Vito's not great. Leave a Gonti in for Death Touch. You want to cut Gutterbones? I could see that. It doesn't attack or block very well. If we did that, I don't hate that. Leave one of these in too. Getting back. Gifted Aetherborn is fine. Let's try this. Hey, McNux, thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. Appreciate it. Look at that. Look at that. 69 players who have checked out Star Trek. Appreciate you. You all are nice. This is totally a Frostbite, right? So I'm gonna play this tapped and pass. I don't have a turn 2 play anyway, so like why give them the resource efficiency? Now there's 0% chance Elves is playable in Standard. I think there's a chance Elves is playable in Historic. I actually loaded up Elves as a Historic deck last night. You've fielded my rune. Got me. It does not impact Gonti. Gonti pays mana for the spells he takes. Can we get Elves in the deck voting so Jeff can get back down to 80%? Sure. I'd really like to draw a land here so we can grasp this plus revival back our thing. That works too. This makes me want less Vito post board. I'll probably put the Gutterbones in on the play so we can be more aggressive to pressure them around this. Looks like my opponent slowed their deck down post board. Playing Wolf Willow Haven. That's interesting. Yeah, they could have a Cronin War for people asking about Obliterator in the opponent's deck. They have Roiling Vortex here to stop Vito from getting life chat. Oh, this is lethal now, right? I don't know why they boarded in Roiling Vortex and then elected not to hold the activation up. Definitely a decision. All right, we're gonna play one or two more with the Devotion deck, but let's put a poll up for deck voting. I think I'm into more historic. I loaded up a bunch of historic decks. Let's do another historic deck today. All right, you have 10 minutes to vote. There should be a poll above your chat. It should pop up on mobile too. It's integrated into the Twitch app. You can spend channel points or bits to vote extra. We have Green Black Elves, Marduk Cars, and Jund Midrange for 3 different historic decks. These are all historic decks in the poll. For the sake of clarity. There's Marduk Cars, Marduk Vehicles. Jund has to be the worst. Ooh. Almay Fjord, thanks for the follow. If you're new to the channel, like Almay, welcome. My name's Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. With the release of Kaldheim, I'm back into doing Magic content as my primary stuff. You're doing standard and historic stuff 5 or 6 days a week, and we play 3 to 4 decks per day usually. If you like a lot of variety in the decks that we play. Most days we run a viewer poll like this where I give folks a few different decks to pick from. Usually try to stay pretty engaged with the community and let the community dictate what we play and when we play it. Wow, Spell Pierce. Huh. Was not a card I was expecting to play around. Diego, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. They're playing Censor as well. Aspiring Spike, thanks for the raid. Hope you had a wonderful stream today. I think I gotta kill Narset. My deck draws cards in a couple of different ways. There could be merit to... Actually, I guess if I split the difference here, Ayara plus this are gonna tag them for 2, which means that we'll get a counter on this. So I think I split the difference this turn. We'll probably want to kill this eventually, but getting a counter on Knight of the Ebon Legion has a lot of value here. And even if they hit land Wrath of God here, I've got Castle to gas back up with. We can still draw with this on their turn, even if they have this. My wallet is ready for elves. Close race here in the channel voting. Marduk Cards and Green Black Elves going back and forth. Opponent hit their green source here too for their Explorer. We just do this. Green Black Elves is a strong lead after a vote dump. Leading by 20%. That's a big lead for Elves. Alright, I'm gonna do this before I attack to see if we can kill them. Killing them appears to be on the table. If the Grey Merchant didn't resolve there, I think I'd split the difference and take the Narset out. But since it was, they don't have to make that decision. Extra Gonti. I think this is the control plan. We cut the Gifted Aetherborns and the Obliterators, bring in the Gonti, the Duress, and the Murderous Riders. Do I think they have Ugin? Maybe. I don't know. We beat Ugin by tagging it with the discard spell or hoping they don't have it. Or by killing them before they get to it. Killing them before they get to it. It's a strong play too. When Scotty stops talking to you, you're done with the Star Trek tutorial. Takes about 5 minutes. If you hit level 3, you're definitely done. Hey, Hamblin, thank you for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I would be surprised if Mario Kart catches back up. 100 vote lead's a pretty big one. People are trying though. Oh no! I opened my mouth and it looked like we found some votes in a bag in the corner. This was an awesome draw, because it means I can pay 2, Thoughtseize them, and play Knight of the Ebon Legion this turn. Man, the Doom Scar is rough. Gosh, that sucks. So, now I actually have to Duress. Because if I don't Duress this now, they're going to get to throw it in the corner, and I can't Duress it next turn. It's fine, I still get a counter on here at least. Alright, who's got 2 thumbs and is dead to a sweeper? This guy right here. Oh, wow. Wow, Marduk cars pulled up over elves. We have 1,200 people in chat. A little over 2,000 votes have been cast. Democracy working as intended. Also, remember, if you're new to the channel, I'd encourage you not to go crazy with bits during voting. For 5,000 bits, I will guaranteed play your deck on stream. So don't spend more than just like a few bits deck voting. The option is there, but it's largely only encouraged a little bit. That's why it's cheap. Unless it's for cars, in which case spend your bits. Oh, it's a frame.
Sorry, I'm late. Let's skip to the good part.
Are you telling people how to spend their money? Well, I mean, I guess when you put it that way. Spend away. At the end of the voting, it tells you the person that spent the most bits, the person that spent the most channel points. All right.
No time for a break.
Yeah, there's still a land short of Coma here. Oh no, they tapped off double white when they cycled. I wonder if they intended to do that. I bet that was a mistake. Looking like Mardukars is gonna cinch it. Up 300 votes here. And I'll do one more with the devotion deck, and then we'll switch over to whatever won the poll. It's looking like Mardu. Beansy with 4,500 bits and Crazy Duck with 184,000 channel points. Mardukars is the winner. Beansy, you gotta. Oh, Beansy, I appreciate the support. Shuri Khan, thanks for the follow. We'll shoot. Hopefully Castle's gonna be able to drag us out of this mulligan. I asserted my dominance. Yep. Trench Canary, good morning and welcome. Depending on how quickly our opponent's deck can close, like I said, the castle might be able to drag us back into this game despite the Thoughtseize in the mulligan. We'll see. Gifted Aetherborn early is actually kind of nice. It's going to buffer our life total back up so we hurt less from this. Hey, Beansy, I'll tell you what. I'm going to put elves in the deck queue for you. You put... I'll put elves into the queue for it. I feel bad. You've gotten burned putting bits in 2 days in a row. I want to go ahead and put elves in the queue for you. We might not get to it today. We might get to it tomorrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, we can't beat Elder Gargoth, right? Let's Thoughtseize them and then concede. Alright, so Murderous Rider, Gonti, Despark all sound good. I don't know how many actual... I don't know if I want actual factual Duress here or not. Feel like there's a good chance... Like, my opponent has things like Gargoth in their deck, so it feels like there's chances that it misses. No, I appreciate you, Beansy. Thanks for keeping me around. I don't think they're a Niv Mizzet deck, because they had things like Gargoth, and they had, like, Nicol Bolas as a 3-color card. And Niv Mizzet only hits 2-color cards. It could be that Duress is better than Aetherborn. I don't know. I don't know exactly how controlling versus how proactive they are. I mean, we only saw Gargoth as a threat. I don't really want to bring in Heartless Act against a deck that could be a pretty creature-light deck. I'm bringing in 2 Despark and 2 Murderous Rider. I would assume that our deck is the beatdown in this matchup. So I don't want to like dilute my deck where I likely need to be proactive with a bunch of reactive cards. When Scotty stops talking to you, Voltaic. Perfect. 2-3-4 curve here. Hey, Space Martian, that's very generous of you. Thank you for the bits. Well, what are spells? Am I a Star Trek fan? I don't dislike it. I don't know. I don't know that I consider myself like a Trekkie, for example, though. Ah, yes, the basic Forest Nicol Bolas deck our opponent is playing. It's a real shame we don't have a castle. We would just bury them with that card. I think I want to hold on to this as an answer as opposed to playing it out proactively.
I will protect the virtue of this world. My strength fades. Rise, my elemental friend.
My schemes are never ending.
I don't really know if there was much we could do there about that last one. I think if one of our lands had been one of our utility cards, like we had 7 lands in that last game. If we would have hit a castle or an awakening, we would have obviously been okay, but that's just how it crumbles sometimes. I think I'm pretty happy with this 75. The ins and outs in all of our matchups felt really good. Like, it feels like we have good, concise plans for both aggressive and control decks. The way Vito enables Gray Merchant, we didn't get to revenge anyone in this set today, but I do think it's still worth playing. We revivaled a few times. The fact that revival has like 12 really good things to get back means occasionally revenging people is fine. Despark's a nice bit of utility out of the board to let us answer expensive enchantments and artifacts that our mono black deck would otherwise have a hard time with. I like the split of Gonti and Phyrexian Obliterator in the main deck. These two cards tend to be good in different places, so I like kind of hedging our bets here and then boarding up to more of them depending on what we want to be doing. Really like the mana base again. We basically get to play 26 lands with 8 utility lands, so if you're looking for a Thoughtseize deck that like has some kind of aggressive draws and some pseudo combo kills, I like what this one's doing a lot. I think this is a pretty good choice to be playing in Historic at the moment. Lee, good afternoon and welcome to the channel.